Um, a very nice welcome to all of you. I think that you're probably all over the country, if I'm not mistaken. You're not on campus in Sacramento. So it's a different animal doing it this way. I usually like going down to Sacramento and visiting with you guys in person, but we'll see how this all flies. So my name is Ariane Newton, and I am the Director of Programs at IPSL Global Institute at NUNM. And that's just a very long name to say that we're IPSL, and we've worked with AmeriCorps for a long, long time, and we have a great affinity for the type of programming that you guys have experience with. So it's a very good fit, and we're anxious to share with you some additional opportunities that you might not know about. And my colleague Thomas is here as well.
Hi, you guys. My name is Thomas Morgan, and my role with IPSL is Executive Director. And as Ariane mentioned, we have been partnered with AmeriCorps for quite some time. And the reason has to do, as you might guess, with our common affinity for service to others. So our organization is the founding organization of the service learning movement. Over 40 years ago, a couple of educators from New York State got together and basically created the pedagogy of service learning, and then spent the greater part of their careers kind of going around to mainly colleges and universities, but also organizations, and teaching people how to create and deliver quality service learning programs. So that's what we do. We offer lots of different opportunities for people to engage in hands-on service around the world, and have done so, as I say, for 40 years. We're here to talk about mainly about the ways you guys can take advantage of continuing your service in a global format, but also in a way where you can earn valuable academic credit or even degrees through our university and through our institute. And with that said, should we talk a little bit about current travel, Ari?
Yeah, that's probably top of mind for everyone. And, you know, IPSL has, over the years, been in a position to be really flexible and very creative in our thinking around things. And we work very closely with our partners abroad. And so we were able to not only bring a few things online, a few program elements online, but also including virtual service, but also get direct information from our program directors on site about their country and what the lay of the land is with the response to the pandemic, how their country's doing. And we are really happy to say that things are opening up. And from the information that we have from our program directors, it looks kind of like things are quote unquote back to normal in daily life. So, it's not like it's impossible for anyone to participate in this experience even now. And we want to be able to share a little bit about that and answer your questions, because I know that I'm sure people have a lot of questions about, you know, well, what does international travel look like, and what does it mean to me, and, you know, what does it look like on the ground? And we can answer all of those questions for you if we know, and would be happy to do that. But we want to start out with a short video from our program director in Greece. Her name's Victoria. And by the way, all of our program directors on site are local folks that are from that country. And we'll explain a little bit about that more later. But anyway, she did a short little video for us. I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll be enticed by it, but it also speaks to the COVID response in Greece.
All right, so I am going to share my screen. I'll share this one. Share.
Hello, I'm Victoria, Program Director of Greece. We're in the middle of summer, as you can see, and we're enjoying our newfound appreciation of freedom. Greece fared very well during the COVID-19 crisis, and now we started welcoming tourists and visitors back. The national healthcare system has protocols in place and is prepared in case it's needed. But no special papers or documentation is required for entering and exiting the country. NGOs are in great need for assistance and help, since many of the casual volunteers will not be coming this summer. The vulnerable populations have not stopped having great needs, and outside support is mostly appreciated and even necessary. So, I send you greetings from the Greek islands, home of the Mediterranean cuisine, and crystal blue waters.
Hi everyone, we hope to see you soon.
Okay. So that was a little welcome message, as you guessed, from our program director in Greece. As Ariane mentioned, each one of IPSL's international program locations has a team in place. Victoria is our program director, and the guy who pops into the frame at the end is actually the captain of that sailboat, and that's one of the opportunities that our participants like to avail themselves of when they go to Greece. Is there's the option to do a multi-day sailing trip between the Greek islands. So anyway, during one of the breaks. So I think the next thing would be, shall we hop over to the presentation, Ariane?
Yeah, and I want to say one thing before we dig into that,
Sure.
about what Victoria was mentioning, and which is pretty critical, is she's in her part of her role, and all of our program directors' role is to build the relationships and maintain the relationships with our small organizations and NGOs where we have our participants do service. And in this time of country shutdowns, a lot of the organizations were really left adrift without essential help. And so they're very, very, happy to be able to welcome IPSL participants back in the fold of things. They know our students well, and there's a lot of different types of opportunities. So they're very, very eager to have volunteers back, which is a great thing.
Yeah. All right, so Ariane and I are going to go pretty quickly through a presentation about kind of the different opportunities and the structure of IPSL and the structure of our programs, and then we'll definitely open it up to questions from you guys. Let me share again. There we go. There we go. Okay. So IPSL has a number of different opportunities. As I mentioned, some of these opportunities are degree-bearing opportunities, and others are simply experiential opportunities to go overseas and take your service international. As I mentioned earlier, we've been around for about 40 years. The programs are completely customizable. So even though we have standard dates and times for some of our term-based programs, we also are, we're very flexible with those dates. And we put together what we call customized programs for students all the time. In particular, quite frankly, AmeriCorps alumni who have specific amounts of time and money available to go abroad and do service and maybe take a course or two. Our focus, I think this is important, is on ethical service. So for us, what that means is a relationship with our community-based organizations and nonprofits that's based on reciprocity and mutual respect. also too, since we work primarily with marginalized and vulnerable populations, we're very, very focused on empowering different groups of people, both from like for racial justice, social justice, economic justice. So we work a lot with populations of color. We work a lot with indigenous groups. We work a lot with people who have suffered through different kinds of traumas related to war or displacement, like refugees. So I say that because there's a variety of different populations that our students engage with, and depending on where you go. And in each location, the service in the coursework, should you decide to do coursework as well, is kind of related to the situation on the ground. And we'll get into that a little bit more. So these are some of the reasons why IPSL has been around for so long and continues to enjoy participants from AmeriCorps and Peace Corps and other kind of service-minded groups. One, we are based on supporting communities in all of their different forms. So what we like to say is that we're supporting community health and healthy communities, and that means mental health, physical health, environmental health, animal health, health in all aspects. We have teams on the ground who provide 24/7 support for you, so that, you know, if there's something that you need, there's somebody there you can turn to. You can improve your foreign language skills through IPSL. So we have lots of opportunities for students who go to different regions and countries to learn the language as well while they're there. And in fact, we support that wholeheartedly and encourage you to either increase the proficiency of a language you might speak a little bit of already, or to learn a brand new language. And then, of course, as an accredited institution within an accredited university, we offer official credit and degrees that are accredited by our regional accreditor. So in addition to kind of customizable programs, IPSL offers 2 different graduate programs, which we have offered since 1994. And Ari, do you want to speak a little bit about the grad programs?
Yeah, absolutely. So our grad programs are grounded in what Thomas was speaking about for the customized and term programs. It's the same mission, it's the same vision, it's the same relationship-based programming. But it does these 2 degrees. One is International Development and Service, and one is called Community Organizing and Social Activism. And they're slightly different, and we can talk about that. They do lead to a Master of Arts degree. And we have structured it in a way that maximizes graduate students' ability to individualize a graduate program to their goals. It is a fairly fast pace, 13-month or so accelerated program, which takes place primarily abroad, except for a short residency for preparation before the students go, and then a return sort of wrap up. But we wanted to get our students out in our communities doing the work. So we blend the theory of international development and social activism with the hands-on experiences, working with leaders in the field to understand, you know, what it means to recognize issues in their community and to develop a viable program or organization that addresses it, and all of the things that go with that. So along with the hands-on with the graduate degrees, of course, there's a full complement of graduate level coursework, which is super interesting topics, and they relate very closely in sort of a curated fashion to to what is happening on the ground in those individual countries. And so, for instance, in Greece, many of the coursework and the discussions, the experiences, the service that a student might do if they choose to go to Greece as one of their 3 international program opportunities would be around displaced persons, migration, displacement, trauma around that, and just just in general services to that group of people. So each location has its own sort of theme, broad theme, and it's very flexible and very responsive as societies move and shift and change and grow. Our program does that as well.
Oops. There we go. Do you want to chat a little bit about the?
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I can't. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'll go. So with our new partnership with NUNM, which stands for the National University of Natural Medicine, it's a naturopathic college in Portland, Oregon, and it's a university. It has a variety of different types of graduate degrees, but basically that our partner focuses on community health writ large, which is exactly what we do. So they offer an opportunity to have a 3rd and 4th year undergraduate experience, which means that of the typical 4 years of an undergraduate college degree, you might avail yourself of this program by going in the 3rd and 4th year, which would lead to a degree in either one of those 2 programs that are listed here, the Bachelor of Science in Integrative Health or in Nutrition. So if you're interested in this sort of world of, complementary health and what it all means to have a healthy community in the global sphere, and you're searching for a college that really would address those needs for you, we'd be happy to share more information about that. But it is exciting to have that undergraduate opportunity, because I know a lot of AmeriCorps students or alums have some undergraduate experience under their belt, and then they went to AmeriCorps and they're not quite sure what to do next, and they kind of want to finish, but they don't know what to do. So yeah, it's an opportunity.
Thanks, Ari.
Mm-hmm.
There's another master's degree option that, so one of the things too that's worth mentioning is that IPSL is an institute within the institution, and a lot of our coursework and service opportunities abroad are integrated into some of these other degrees. So even should you decide to do one of these other degrees like this Master's of Global Health, you really can avail yourself of a lot of the in-country experiences, or even do some of those courses online if you decide to do it that way. And one of those degrees is the Master's of Science in Global Health, which definitely emphasizes social justice, like cultural competencies, and holistic health in communities around the planet. So if you do not have an undergraduate degree already, as I mentioned, our university has some undergraduate degrees that you can take if you'd like. If you're already planning to go to another institution for an undergraduate degree or to finish an undergraduate degree, you can still do an IPSL Learn and Serve program overseas, and get credit for it. So we routinely work with institutions all around the country who send their students on our programs. So, but instead of like a typical kind of just study abroad program, we have the very substantive service component and all of the coursework around that goes with it. So if that's something that you have planned already, then like what I mean by that, if you have a home institution that you're going to be going to already, you can certainly still do an IPSL program. And as we alluded to earlier on, we also put together customized programs. And we've been doing this a lot with AmeriCorps alumni who have, for example, an AmeriCorps Siegel Education Award that they would like to use. And particularly, whether it doesn't term out for a long time, or if some folks haven't used their Siegel Education Award yet. And so we recently learned from AmeriCorps that folks can basically have that award distributed to an institution and then use it within a year's time. So we have students who were running out of time to use their Siegel Education Award, but we're kind of waiting on the current situation with COVID-19 to see, like, well, I really want to be able to travel to X locations. So we were able to work with them to have the Ed Award dispersed, and then they're going to do their program maybe in the fall or in the winter as things kind of loosen up and open up again. But irrespective of that, we can send you to any IPSL location for any length of time. You can take coursework while you're there, even if it's a short period, because a lot of our courses are taught in kind of intensive modular fashion. So they may last a week or 10 days. So if you happen to be there during that time that a course is offered, you can take that course. And of course, you can do a number of different projects while you're in the country, but depends on the amount of time that you're there, as you can probably imagine. And then we also have some language study and volunteering opportunities in a number of countries where it's just language and volunteering. And that's in Germany, Austria, France, Japan. Those 4 countries for right now.
And I should say, Thomas, before we move on,
Yeah.
if you want to go back to that last slide, if you would, thanks. I think it's important to mention that last bullet, which seems a little odd for us to put that there, but it's the bring a spouse or child. We know that many, AmeriCorps alums that want to use their Siegel Ed Award may not be in the, may have already worked, may have different family obligations, may not be able to go for a very long time, whatever it may be, or needs to or wants to bring a spouse or a child. We're very, very flexible, and the program is not just for the student, or the participant. So we can certainly accommodate that, and I think that that sort of speaks to our flexibility and our small. We're really small and very individualized. And I do want to mention the photograph, because the photograph all the photographs actually are from either our program directors there or our students. And this woman is a Mayan woman, indigenous Mayan woman from Guatemala. And one of the short-term programs that AmeriCorps folks seem to really gravitate towards, and a lot of people do, is our program in Guatemala, which is called One Health. And it's easy to participate because it's a short-term. You can do it in 2 weeks. You could get college credit, but the course is absolutely fabulous. So it blends human health, environmental health, and animal health in a way that really is very much about Guatemala. It's really cool.
And it takes place in a rural area at a permaculture institute. So
yeah,
you can literally get your hands dirty.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Whoops. All right, so this is just a list of some of our program locations and the different themes that participants can kind of pursue in terms of academics and service. So we have locations in Europe, Ireland and Greece, in Latin America, Colombia, Guatemala, Peru, and in Africa, we are in Cape Town, South Africa. And I think I might have skipped the very first one, did I? Yeah. In Asia, we're in Hanoi, and Hanoi, Vietnam, and Siem Reap, Cambodia.
And
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Thomas.
I was just going to say, so the graduate program students choose between about 5 of these different locations, so they don't go to all of them. But a customized student or an undergrad could go to any of these locations.
And they can also go to a couple of different ones, depending on the length of time that they want their program. We're working with an AmeriCorps alum who is spending 2 months abroad, focusing on service. And she's a middle-aged woman, not a typical college student. And she wants to go to both Colombia and Guatemala. So, you know, we can mix and match, and it really is just about sitting down with you and talking about your goals.
Yeah. Which we always enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm. Really fun. And you'll see under each of the, I'm pointing at the screen, you'll see under each of the names of the countries, there's kind of like a themed explanation about what that location kind of focuses on. So for instance, Peru, you have environmental justice focus, Spanish, of course, and then Indigenous health and human rights, which is a really fascinating course.
Okay. So do you want me to talk about research?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So IPSL a number of years ago advanced this notion of service to include research, because as we engaged further with our community-based organization partners in each of these locations, we realized that besides the hands-on service, there were other ways that we could serve these organizations and their missions. And one of those ways was by conducting primary research that yields everything from data to feedback on existing programs, so that these organizations can continue to do better what they're doing in their communities in terms of serving their populations. And so our students for the last few years have actually been able to conduct primary research. And that may take lots of different forms. It may be surveys, it may be interviews, it may be data collection of different kinds. That is then synthesized and then delivered and given in a presentation to the organization, which can then go on and solicit funds from their governments or foundations, because to get grants and funding, you often need to prove that, you know, you're making headway in your programming and that there are things that you're striving for and how you plan to get there. Mm-hmm. And our students are helping them do that by conducting this research. So for the students, it's obviously good for your portfolio to have done research, particularly in another country. And then for the organization, of course, it's indispensable, because now they have these data sets and program reviews that they can use to serve their populations better. Mm-hmm. And the research is supported by an independent international IRB called Ethos IRB. And that's an organization that reviews the research question and protocol to ensure that it is ethical, legal, and appropriate for that particular country. And when approved, once the research is conducted, what that means is you can actually publish that research because it's been approved by an official IRB.
And we have individual students participate in this just because they're interested and want to help in this way. But also, this is an integral part to our 2 graduate degrees. This is part of their academic process and service process. Yeah.
Yep. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we try to offer as much support as we can to our AmeriCorps alums for all the reasons, as you might guess now, because of the affinity of service. And so for our graduate programs, we of course accept whatever Siegel Ed award you might have, or awards. It doesn't matter how many. And then in addition to that, we also offer a supplemental scholarship of $5,500. And in some cases, we've had graduate students that have been able to apply, I don't know, about $12,000, Thomas, or maybe even more.
Yeah, yeah, just a little bit more than 12 even.
Yeah, to their tuition. So that was a big help. We also waived the application fee for AmeriCorps alum, and they're given priority admission to our program because they're really are super successful in their participation. And you can use your Siegel Ed Awards for any of the programs, anytime, any of the programs.
Yeah, to be able to connect with you guys, this is our website, ipsl.org, and if you just go to the main landing page, you can put your email in, and then we can follow up with you, because as Ariane was alluding to during this conversation or this presentation, the way we put the programs together is very individualized and very customized, and so we like to have those conversations with you to find out exactly what your learning goals are, and then come up with the best solution for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll also be able to, if you wish, we can send you the PDF of the presentation. I know in some parts we went through pretty quickly because we wanted to have lots of time for questions, but we'd be happy to send you the presentation if you give us your email. So yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much what we wanted to cover. You can see all of these photographs again are our students participating in our programming around the world. We love what we do and we love speaking with you guys.